Welcome everyone. My name is Ryan and I am your tour guide for today's journey inside of the cell. Our destination for this tour is the cell membrane. The cell membrane is the outer layer of the cell that protects it, controls what enters and leaves, and helps the cell interact with its surroundings. Now if we take a walk over here, right here we have the phospholipid bilayer, which is the foundation of our membrane. Each molecule has a hydrophilic head, which attracts water, and hydrophobic tails, which avoid water. Since they have both hydrophobic and hydrophilic parts, it is called amphipathic. The heads face outwards towards the water environments around the cell, and the tails face inward, forming a protective barrier. Now, if we head this way and focus our attention over here, are the membrane proteins. This large blob is one of the integral proteins, which are embedded into the membrane. Integral proteins are built into the membrane and help move molecules in and out, send signals, and keep the cell stable. Some others stretch all the way across, and these are the transmembrane proteins. Transmembrane proteins go all the way through the membrane and help transport molecules and send signals across the cell. On the surface, we have peripheral proteins, which help with signaling, support, and connecting to other structures. Now, if we move over here you can see cholesterol. Cholesterol is really important because it helps keep the cell membrane both stable and flexible. Without it, the cell membrane could become too stiff in cold temperatures or too loose in warm ones. Next, we have glycoproteins, which are proteins with sugar chains attached. These help the cell recognize and communicate with other cells. This is important for things like the immune system, where cells need to tell beneficial cells apart from harmful. And finally, there are glycolipids, which are similar to glycoproteins but made of lipids with sugar chain. They also help with cell recognition and add a layer of protection to the membrane, keeping it stable and preventing damage from the outside environment. Junctions are specialized proteins that connect one cell to another. They help hold cells together to form tissues and organs. By creating tight connections, they prevent unwanted substances from passing between the cells and allow the cells to communicate with each other efficiently. Let's go take a look at how cells connect to each other. And then I'm going to walk. Some proteins in the cell membrane act as enzymes. These enzymes speed up chemical reactions that are necessary for the cell to function efficiently. For example, enzymes in the membrane of digestive cells break down nutrients so that the cell can absorb them more quickly and efficiently. Although it may seem like some proteins just sit there, they also speed up the chemical reactions for the cell. Transport proteins help move substances in and out of the cell. Some act as channels, allowing for specific molecules like ions or water to pass through, while others are carriers that actively transport molecules like glucose. Only certain substances can pass, which helps the cell maintain proper balance of ions, nutrients, and water. In addition to speeding up reactions, many proteins control what goes in and out of the cell. Glycoproteins and glycolipids on the cell membrane help the cell recognize other cells. This is important to identify which cells belong to the body and which don't. Cell recognition is also crucial for tissue formation and communication between cells. We already visited the glycoproteins earlier, but now let's focus on their job in identifying cells. Over here is another function, anchorage. It is kind of like the cell support beam, where it connects the membrane to the cytoskeleton inside of the cell. This helps the cell keep its state and stability. Without anchorage, the cell structure would be weak and could shift around too much. Signal transduction proteins receive chemical signals from outside of the cell, such as hormones or neurotransmitters. They transmit these signals into the cell, triggering a response. This process allows the cells to adapt to changes in its environment and communicate with other cells. And that concludes our tour of the cell membrane. From the phospholipid bilayer to the proteins and sugars, every part works together to help protect the cell, communicate with its environment, and keep life running smoothly. Thanks for joining my adventure.